It all happened after school on a Tuesday. November 9th, 1965, around 5 p.m. that evening, New York City lost power and went completely black by sunset. My name is Eric, and welcome to the craziness that lives inside my head. I was 13 years old. I was in junior high school, and that was my last year in junior high school, so I was in 8th grade. And I didn't know too much of anything. What I mean by too much of anything, I was young and foolish and fat. I know people might get said, why are you always talking about being so fat? Well, I was fat. I was a fat kid. And all the guys had a girlfriend. Of course, I didn't have a girlfriend because I was fat. But then I did meet a girl in school. She was in, I think she was, I was in the 8th grade. So she was in, she was in a smaller class than I was. She was in a 1 class, and I think I was in a 5 class or a 4 class. So she was very intelligent. But she also was big. I'm not going to say fat. She was big. And we became friends. And on November 9th, that was a Tuesday, she invited me to her house. Now, this is after school, of course. Her parents work, my parents work. So there we were, around 3:30 in her house, alone. Her father didn't get home till about 5. My mother didn't get home till about 5. And I only lived about, maybe. No, I only live about 5 blocks away. About 5 blocks away. So anyway, and just so you kids know, if you're young, because they didn't have busing. They weren't busing people to school. I'm from New York City. That year, I think it was that year or the year before I went to junior high school, they had just started busing people to school. Because my cousin asked me that question. She said, because I walked to school. She said, you walked to school? I don't remember walking to school. I said, no, because you got bussed out the neighborhood. They always bust out the crazy people out of the neighborhood. So anyway, I digress. So I went to her name was Julia, by the way, the girlfriend, my girlfriend Julia. I went to her house. I had a girlfriend. You know, when you're 13 years old, all the boys got a girlfriend. Well, I had a girlfriend too, and I was, you know how that is when you're young, you know. I went to her house, and we started making out. I didn't know what making out was. Now, mind you, I never had a girlfriend. And to be honest with you, I haven't yet gotten to that sexuality that guys talk about. I didn't have it. You know, I didn't get to that point. So anyway, she had asked me to do certain things. I kissed her. I kissed her on the lips. She asked me to feel her breast. I felt her breast. And then she pulled up her, was she wearing a dress? She had to be wearing a dress. They all wore dresses those days. I don't think girls were allowed to wear pants. So she put up her dress. And I remember I do remember her pulling down her panties. And she grabbed my hand and she put my hand in her you know what. And I didn't know what to do. I'm 13 years old. Yeah, she was a year older than me. That's what it was. She was 14. I'm 13 years old. I didn't know what's going on. And then she kept doing it. She kept pushing my hand in. And I guess my fingers go in there. And I did it with the fingers. And that was that. And I don't know. That's all I could tell you. I don't know. She liked it. Now, I don't know if people might say, well, did she? I said, I don't know if she came or not. I don't know. I didn't. I don't know what the hell was going on. I was just doing that because she had my hand up there and I did it. And I did it. And I kissed her. And I said, I got to go now. I got to go home. Do my homework. Actually, I do have to go home and do my homework when my mother get home. Because she won't let me watch TV until I did my homework. So anyway, I went home. I walked home. I lived on the borderline of Canarsie and East New York. So I walked home. My school was in East New York at the borderline. Julia lived on the borderline 2 or 3 blocks from my house in Canarsie. You know, the line, the street here. You're on this side, you're in Canarsie. You're on this side, you're in East New York. Well, she was in Canarsie. So anyway, on my way home, there's many ways to go home. I had to go across Linden Boulevard. And like I said, you're from Brooklyn, from East New York. And over there, I think it was I was near the last stop. East 105th Street was the last stop for the L train. So that part of the L train was outside, and they had, you know, L train elevated in that part. That's when the L train comes out to be elevated. Well, that's on Linden Boulevard. I went across Linden Boulevard. It's up the hill. You could go up the hill. They didn't have any fences. You could go up the hill and get to the train tracks, the subway train tracks. That station right there was, I think that station was New Lots. New Lots was the station. You go right, they didn't have any fences. You walk up there, you can make out, and that's what they was doing. Everybody was going up there, making out with their girlfriends, whatever. So, I'm on my way home. Who's walking up Linden Boulevard? Donald. Donald was a guy. He was a year older than me too. He wasn't in my class. He was in another class. So anyway, but I knew Donald. Donald was, at the time I didn't know, but now I know because I'm older. Donald was chasing after me. And I didn't even think about Donald that way for the simple reason. First of all, I didn't know any way. You know, I was, like I said, I didn't even know about sex. I'm fooling around with this girl. She's my girlfriend. She's showing me how to do what I didn't know. I think she thought I was a klux when I left the house and said, I gotta go do homework. But Donald came, and Donald asked me, he said, I like you. I said, I like you too. He said, let's go up on the hill. I said, what are we gonna do on the hill? He said, I want to show you something. Story of my life, by the way, when I was a teenager. I want to show you something. So I went up there. I don't know what he wanted to show me. So I go up on the hill, underneath the tracks. You know, there's you could go underneath the tracks where nobody could see you from the outside. And he kissed me. I said, oh, wow. He kissed me. I felt his wet lips on my cheeks. And the next thing I know, he kissed my lips. And we were kissing. And I thought about this. I said, I just finished kissing this girl. You know, so I'm kissing him, I guess. He's kissing me. Let's put it that way. And then he started playing around with me. He pulled out my zipper. He already has his out. And we played around with each other. I guess, I don't know, because like I said, I haven't did that yet. You know, if you're a guy, you know what I mean. I haven't jerked off yet. I haven't had that feeling. Actually, after all this, I did, but I haven't had that feeling to do that. But he asked me to do it. He showed me what to do to his thing. I did it. He came. He was doing it me, but I didn't, you know. I said, I got to go home and do homework. He said, okay. So I went home, turned on the TV, and I had to start doing my homework. I always do my homework with the TV. Who doesn't? So anyway, that's when everything changed. The TV went off. The lights went off. And I'm sitting there like, what the hell is going on? And then I hear people outside in the streets. I go in the streets, and there are the people outside. My friend, Gregory, who's my next door friend, he said, oh, wow, the lights went out. And the lights went out. And I went outside with Gregory, or the lights went out. And it was like, wow. I mean, when you're 13 years old, that was an experience. And then it had to be close to 5 because my mother came up the block. She said, I think all the lights went out, the lights. And she gave me and Gregory some money to go to the hardware store to buy candles. And I remember this. I get to the hardware store. It was a whole line. It was a line to get into the hardware store. They was buying candles. People was buying candles up. I remember that time. And it was almost like, it was interesting. New York City, it was in Brooklyn, it was black. We got home just in time. Some people had flashlights Because by the time we were online getting the candles, it was dark, and we couldn't, you can't see in the block. So we followed people. I think it was another friend of ours had a flashlight, and that's how we got home, through the flashlight. And you see flashlights all over. It was something else. So anyway, got home. My mother lit the candles, and then I was like, wow, and I don't know. I mean, I was. Then my stepdad came home, and he was stuck somewhere. He came home late because he got stuck on the subway. I forgot how he got home, but anyway, that was something. That was the first blackout. I lived through 3 blackouts in New York, by the way. That was the first blackout. And by the time the next morning, the lights were up and everything. And then I had, have you ever woke up in the morning and you was thinking, wow, and the lights is on, everything is back to normal? And I said, well, yesterday wasn't a normal day for me. I mean, between Julia and Donald and the blackout, I said, wow, what a day. What a day. And I didn't do my homework. I didn't have to. When I got to school, nobody did their homework. You just heard the craziness that lives inside my head.